Today on Faithfully Fantasy.
We've questioned Bodhi's intentions, haven't we, over the last couple of weeks? One of the reasons why he could be trying to put stuff in between them could be this. Like, if you give Bodhi the benefit of the doubt and he thinks that you must fight for the revolution and the revolution is what matters.
See Violet as a threat.
Violet, yeah, he sees her as a threat. He knows that Xaden will throw the revolution away if it means losing Violet. So I asked some of our friends on Instagram what their theories were to do with the signet-blocking elixir. Didn't get any mention of Brennan. Lish from Lishful Reading, this one blew my mind.
Okay.
She thinks
Hello and welcome to Faithfully Fantasy.
the husband and wife podcast talking all things Iron Flame.
I'm JC.
And I'm Sean.
And today we're diving into chapters 29 to 32 of Iron Flame. We're breaking down key moments, foreshadowing, and discussing new theories.
Yeah. So this week we are still at Samara. We have just met Kat. And we will be flying back to Basgiath for the punishment that never was. And finally, Violet tells her friends all about everything except one tiny detail, massive detail. They take part in the heist of the century. Bigger than the map heist in Fourth Wing.
Yes.
They're going to break into the archives. Should we dive straight in?
Okay, so chapter 29.
Cadets who are found absent without leave will be subject to court-martial by their chain of command if they are not executed on site. Article 4, Section 1, the Basgiath War College Code of Conduct.
Yes, so you can tell Rebecca Yarros is trying to give you like, oh, Violet might die or something really bad. It will happen because she did this. So it's just like give you that little extra thing that, oh, what's going to happen? Obviously, when you don't know.
Did you really think that she was going to die in Chapter 9 of the second book of 5?
I mean, they said it could die. Like the cadets, they do this kind of thing. Obviously, you don't think that Violet is going to die in this one, but...
You think she's going to have to do something pretty big to get out of it.
Something really bad is going to happen to her.
Yeah.
It's like the idea that's in your mind. For some people die because the thing that she did.
Yeah, it's a bit anticlimactic, isn't it? Once she gets there.
But we're discussing about this. The Bodhi was the one who said, yeah, you can go. So why it doesn't count?
Yeah. So there's a few things that make me pause. Their chain of command. I do not see how Panchek is her chain of command and Varrish. Like, yeah, I get it. They're more senior. But the chain of command is squad leader, section leader, wing leader.
Mm-hmm.
So I get it. They're responsible for all the punishment. But in Fourth Wing, Panchek says, if you need to be punished, it'll be your wing leader because you don't want me involved or something like that, didn't he?
Yeah.
So he tries to stay out of it.
It's basically he's saying all relating to squads. Is you had a squad leader, you had a wing leader, you had to manage yourself. You don't want me to be there because that's the point of having a wing leader or a section leader, because they are the ones who need to manage all the people. So Bodhi, it wasn't all his right as a section leader to give him permission to leave.
Yeah, maybe it's when there's something so big, like when there's a breach of the Codex, because we know when Amber Mavis was executed, Panchek got involved at that point.
Yes.
But he was fumbling with his, he was a little bumbling mess, wasn't he? But anyway, That was one thing that I do find suspicious, but also it's Article 4, Section 1, the Basgiath War College Code of Conduct. It's not the Codex, it's not the Riders' Codex.
Yes.
It's the Code of Conduct. And this isn't the last time it's mentioned in these few chapters, but I thought it was really interesting how it's not a Codex rule, it's a Basgiath War College Code of Conduct.
Yes.
Which means it's not just riders.
It's everyone there's Basgiath.
Yeah.
basically.
So if you're
It's,
AWOL, you get executed.
really interesting just from the epigraph. So
Yeah.
we should start now, chapter 29. The first thing that comes in this chapter is Violet's insecurity about Kat. So she said, is she your ex-girlfriend talking with Xaden? And then you can start to see like this awkward moment between that she like trying to get information, and she like, okay, I shouldn't care about it because it happened before me, so I can't pretend that nothing happens before me.
Yeah.
But still,
I think it's so normal. It makes you just realize, like, why do we feel like that about ex-girlfriends and things?
yeah, I think one thing is when you know that, yes, the person when you are the partner has a past, but another thing is when you see the past in front of you, and then maybe if, in this case of Violet, she feels insecure because she sees Kat as somebody that's like, maybe, I don't know, I think maybe at this point Violet thinks that she's better looking than her, or she's like more suitable for Xaden, and that's the thing that gets her.
Yeah, but for me, like, I get it. Because everyone has a bit of insecurity about ex-girlfriends, ex-boyfriends, whatever. But once she'd met her, it was quite clear that Kat still wanted Xaden. She said that. She noticed that.
Yes.
So that, for me, would make me feel a bit better because Xaden doesn't want her. Mm-hmm. That was obvious as well. Like, he didn't want her. So if it was the other way around, where Kat...
Kat was the one who dumped Xaden, and Xaden just like trying to just move it on.
It matters who ends it, doesn't it?
Yes.
It matters. And that whereas if it was the person that you're with now, and maybe doesn't matter because they could also have broken the heart and got over it and it's fine. Mm-hmm. But it makes it a bit easier to handle, doesn't it? I find.
But even Tarn has to get involved. And he was like, oh, come on, you've been chosen by 2 dragons, so just...
Yeah, but that point as well, I think Kat would definitely have been chosen by a dragon. She just wasn't at Basgaiath and she wasn't at Threshing. And it made me think, do you have to be? Or are we going to come across somebody who's bonded with a dragon and not been through Basgaiath? Or could you be an infantry cadet and you bond with a dragon? Could you be, or is there something about the fact that you put yourself forward for it that makes a dragon want to choose you? But of course she didn't bond. Of course the dragon didn't choose her. She was a Zolia. She was
not
a
part of
Cliffsbane.
that. Yes, exactly.
Yeah, that's a bit of a stupid argument from 10. But he says we were over before I met you as well, and I just wonder when it was.
It's weird because I think I remember something about when Xaden started to have like feeling for Violet. So this is before they had something.
Before they'd met.
Well, no, I think that maybe they met, but I think maybe because it seems that Xaden was the first one to fall for her. So I think maybe when he started to realize that he was actually falling for her was when he ended the relationship.
I think it was
Kat.
Before that, and he said it was before that, and he said he's never lied to her. I think it must have been when he manifested his intrinsic signet, and he read her mind, and he knew that she was only after his crown.
Yes, that's a good point, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Because he knows intentions, and it's pretty clear that Kat is more interested on the title than actually in Xaden.
Yeah.
Actually, in this scene as well, we start to get a little bit about Corden, about what the Viscount Tecaros wants about Violet.
Yeah.
Because she knew there was something mentioned about her, but she didn't know what it was. And apparently he wanted to just see her then lightning.
Yeah, he sounds like an arsehole, doesn't he? Sounds like... Because... and I know that we know this book and we've read the whole book, but I always read this bit like I don't know what's going to happen. And if you were listening about to the description of what had happened before, he changed his mind. So he told Xaden all he wanted was, like, I don't know, they don't actually say what it was, but he said the first attempt he found out that they were only going to let him use it and not take it.
Yes.
And then, so you find out that he changes his mind.
Yeah.
And he adds...
That you can't trust him, basically.
Yeah, it keeps moving the
goalposts. Yeah.
I think there's a lot of foreshadowing for what's going to happen later. So he doesn't want her to go, and he's pushing Violet more and more to the fact that she's just going to go anyway. So he might as well support her in it. He's constantly doing this. Like in this book, he's trying to keep her safe, or he's withholding information, but actually all he's doing is pushing her to be more risky and reckless. I can't wait to get to Corden, because I think the book that Takaris gives Violet has got so many secrets in, and I just can't wait to get to that bit. But just before they get into some of the detail of all the stuff that they've missed or that they haven't communicated about, Ten says, be ready to go in the morning. Perhaps returning quickly will soften your inevitable punishment for leaving abruptly, because no one punishes dragons. This again is like mention of how maybe they're suspicious and nobody's punishing them, even though they're doing bad things as well. And every single episode we mention the dragons are doing something that they're not they're keeping a secret. I wonder what the Empyrean are doing if they're not enforcing some rules. Do you think Coda has something to say to Tern when he gets back and says you just abandoned your post because of Sorrengail, or do you think because dragons understand the mating bond and what that actually means?
Yeah, they know there's nothing to do with that, so nothing to talk about.
Tern walks off with Sorrengail, their tails swishing in rhythm. Oh, cute.
Yes.
We get a bit of a mention about who Xaden would rather talk about Violet's exes than Takaris. He says, who are your exes? Do I know them? Do you have any ideas?
I'm sure that at the beginning he used to think that Dane was something else, because I think when he was like bullying Dane, I think he mentioned a couple of times that maybe they were together or something.
Yeah. But he now knows they weren't.
Yeah, they never happened. When he saw that first kiss, he saw that it was like really awkward. Yeah. So he's sure that nothing happens. But we have seen some mention about Violet having sex with other people, but at this point, I think maybe it has to be scribes. I don't think it's going to be riders or cadets from that point.
Princes?
Oryx maybe brothers?
Auric? I don't know.
Or Alec?
Maybe. Alec was a bit older. Because, Alec was the same
age as Xaden.
Yeah, yes. That makes sense. But it would have been before. Yeah, maybe. Could be. Just before he started. But I wonder about the middle one. The middle son. But Alec...
No, Alec is the middle one. There's oldest one. I can't remember what's their name, but it's like Hayden or... I can't remember.
Oh, we should have done some research.
Yeah, there's an older one. Then the middle one is Alec. And then the youngest is Auric.
Okay. So Alec would be... But she doesn't seem so... she doesn't seem so shocked that he's dead, or... Well, she kind of does go, shit, doesn't she? Doesn't see that coming.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't see that she cares about it.
But he must have been... Well, going to get to this bit, so maybe we're...
Yeah, because I have a couple of things to talk about it, so I need to wait for that.
But I just feel like there's a bit of a contradiction with this guy, because he was bullying Garrick, so he's not a great person. But Auric really liked him, because that's why he hates Xaden.
Yeah.
So which is it? Is he a good person? Is he a bad person? I guess you can be a bad person and you can still love your brother, can't you? So, yeah.
Maybe not just love it, just you have like this respect and this
a shared experience. Yeah,
exactly. Could be an asshole, but still my brother.
Yeah.
Something like that.
But it's a bit fitting how they're talking about exes, and it just jumps out at me a little bit that we get a story of the princes. The princes feature quite heavily in this set of chapters, so I just suspect that
she might have something.
One of her exes is one of the princes. So to Takaris, so I'm asking you, what does Takaris want for the Luminary? The one device that could complete your forge. What are you unwilling to give? This whole conversation's a bit weird because half of it's out loud and half of it's through the mind bond. We know that when something's through the mind bond, it's usually in italics. We don't think that she's channeling right now, do we? Because Undana's in her dreamless sleep. So we don't think she's manifesting a signet. But it is a bit weird how she says, so I'm asking you, what does Takarus want for the luminary? He said he will answer any question that she asks. And maybe the fact that asking is emphasized in this paragraph is purely just to remind Xaden that he said he would answer any questions that she asked. But he does answer it. He says, besides weaponry and a private army, you're the first lightning wielder in over a century. When was the last one? Over a century ago. Yeah, but over a century ago, what did they do? We
always talk about what is the real signet of Violet, because we can say that, she's a lightning wielder, because that's what she does. But we suspect there could be something else as well.
Just channeling power, like pure power.
Yeah, pure power, exactly, from the sky. So I don't think we had enough information to see if the previous one was just a lightning wielder and not the same as Violet.
Yeah.
Because I think it has to be like a combination between a really powerful dragon and then rider. In the case of Violet, they wants to willing to do anything to protect people, not just to hurt, to protect, do whatever it takes to protect them. So you had this like combination that's really weird when it happens. But again, Violet, I think she's more than just a lightning wielder. I think it's just like the attack that she has, but the venom of that she is more than that.
Yeah, and we know that
they wanted.
Felix later knows more as well. He literally tells her it's pure power, but it just manifests itself as lightning. Xaden says, I told you in Erasure I would rather lose this entire war than live without you.
Yeah.
And we've questioned Bodhi's intentions, haven't we, over the last couple of weeks. And one of the reasons why he could be trying to put stuff in between them could be this. Like, if you give Bodhi the benefit of the doubt and he thinks that you must fight for the revolution and the revolution is what matters, he could just be suspicious of
Violet as a threat.
Violet. Yeah, he sees her as a threat, and he knows that Xaden will just throw the revolution away if it means losing Violet.
Obviously, all the parents have sacrificed for that, and they're still fighting for that. And Xaden just throwing everything for just one person, probably. They don't see it like fair. We
also get a first hint. Is it a first hint? I think it might be. That Xaden is also having bad dreams. He says, I need you to be able to defend yourself no matter what happens, when he gives her the dagger, puts it in his flight jacket. You're not the only one with bad dreams, you know. So we know that this is kind of where we start to see get the foreshadowing for they're waiting for me, and the link between Xaden and the general. Is it the general or the sage? I don't know. It's definitely the sage in Violet's dream, and it's the general later on.
It's interesting because I think Tern, he mentioned at some point before this as well that he's having something, and then Violet, the one who says, I guess dragons have like bad dreams as well.
Yeah.
So like all of them, they're having maybe
traumatized
because maybe they are connected. But what I'm not sure if the venom that maybe is appearing in Xaden's dreams is exactly the same one, the same Violet. But I think the one in Violet's could be, one of the six, or General Daramos is the one who's been waiting for centuries.
The first dream, yeah.
Yes,
but
and the one who goes for Xaden, I think is the general that Xaden kills in the end.
Yeah, but we get a dream later that is a different person, and I'm having such a good conversation. Bookish moments, MOEMENTS moments, yeah, on Instagram at the moment, and I've got so much to say, and I just said to her today that we need to get her on the podcast at some point. But there's a dream later where it feels like it's a different venom, because you've got thinning hair in the last one that we talked about in the last episode, and then you've got tanned skin and sweet smelling breath. The next one's Xaden. So she's getting different people visiting, or we're having different manifestations of possibly the hive mind or whatever it is, but there's different venom in each dream. Anyway, we'll get to that. You wanted to talk about the signet-blocking elixir that she mentions.
Yes, because Xaden didn't know anything about it. And we know there's something new. There actually was Violet Squad, the first one to be in test with this. And they will mention maybe we can make an antidote for this, or maybe Brennan can. Because they mentioned the signet-blocking elixir, antidote, and Brennan pretty much all together. This is the thing that made me think. I think we haven't talked about this. I don't know if in the podcast or outside. The reason that this elixir exists now could be maybe because of Brennan as well. Because we say that maybe Brennan, when he was mending Violet, he might take maybe a sample of the venom that they've been using to poison her. Maybe he managed to do something with that because he's a master in potions. And because we think as well that he might have like a really good relationship with Nolan. So maybe they keep communications going. And somehow they just given to Basquiat. Or
could have been his mentor, couldn't he, Nolan?
Yeah.
You would expect he would be, because when Brennan manifests his signet as a cadet
he was the only one.
He would go straight to Nolan. Nolan was a family friend, we know that, because he's been mending Violet
for years. Exactly. Yeah. So I found it really curious. They're talking about this, and Brennan as well. So I was like, maybe this is the thing they were looking for, like something to put it together. Yeah. That maybe Brennan knows about this, and then trying to find maybe a weapon against the venom, because this affects venom. So this basically affects magic. So
we know in the beginning of Iron Flame, Brennan is corresponding with somebody at Basquiat. He gets a letter. Bodhi brings him a letter that's a folded piece of paper. Bodhi would definitely have read that. Who wouldn't? He just give it a cheeky read. Anyway, Bodhi gives him a letter, and he's like, the rider is here until tonight if you want to respond. And that's a rider from Basquiat. And Violet says, how many riders are here? How many? And we don't know who else in Basquiat is in the revolution. Mm-hmm. We know who ends up going, but it might be that there are other riders that are stationed at Basquiat, but not actually teachers or cadets. The thing that it made me think of was that the poison-tipped dagger that Violet was stabbed with, it has the same effect. It cut the bond with
Tarn.
It cut the bond with Tan and Andana. Right, so what do we know? We know that Nolan is trying to mend Jack at this point. We think that Brennan potentially could be communicating with Nolan. Nolan might know he's alive. I don't know. That's all a bit weird. But Brennan could know that there are also venom. Because in Basquiat, because Brennan may also be venom. So he thinks, this is a poison that they've developed and they've put on the tips of the daggers that has blocked the bond. So it's blocked the channeling of the magic, and he thinks this could stop channeling from the ground as well. He could have developed it from that, because they said, Brennan, I only know one person who can find an antidote to venom. To poisons, and that's Brennan. So Xaden takes Violet. I'm not explaining this very well. But it could be that Brennan made the antidote and sent it to Basquiat to help maybe control the other venom. I'm not sure I've fully formulated this theory, but it did make me think that Brennan is involved somehow, because they keep mentioning, Brennan could do it. Yes,
because we suspect that there's something going on with Brennan. So we think he could be venom, or maybe a wyvern or something. That's because he's alive. He had this rune in the hand. So it makes sense for me that maybe he was trying to bring something to cut power. Because if he's a venom, if he feel maybe this hunger for channeling from the ground, the rune might help, but maybe it's not really effective. So looking for other solutions, and maybe this venom or this poison that he found out is like the perfect thing, because then maybe you need to just drink it, and then that's it, they're cured. And that's exactly what happens to Jack, and we'll see later on.
It is, yeah, but it's not perfect because it stops the rider also being able to connect with their dragon, so it makes them powerless ultimately. Because if Brennan's rune patch, if he is a venin or has been a venin, and that's like a control to stop him from doing it. If he didn't have that and he was having a drink or an elixir or a potion, serum,
he wouldn't be able to mend. Yeah,
he wouldn't be able to mend. Yeah, because he wouldn't have that connection with Marb as well, which is obviously still there because he's mending Violet.
Yeah.
Right. So I asked some of our friends on Instagram what their theories were to do with the signet-blocking elixir. Didn't get any mention of Brennan, which surprised me a little bit.
Yeah.
But that's obviously our front-running theory. They're all good. Okay. So,
what we have?
Megan said Nolan's wife made it, which I absolutely love, because way back in Fourth Wing, when we meet Winifred, I think her name's Winifred, she gives her a pain medicine, which is hilarious. And do you remember when she's like, oh, what does she say? I only got one. One is really heavy. It's really good. She says that Winifred makes all her own medications, tinctures, etc.
Yes.
So we know that she's good with potions and poison antidotes and things.
Yeah.
So I love that. That could totally be true.
Yeah, definitely. It's not something that you can say anything against.
Yeah, take Brennan out of it. That makes complete 100% sense.
Yeah.
Kelly, who has joined us in the We're Suspicious of Bodhi club, she made a really interesting connection between Bodhi's signet and the elixir. I think it is slightly different because it's countering signets. So it's basically Uno reverse, isn't it? Oh, it's not Uno reverse. It's the opposite. So fire would be fought with water. It's like finding the opposite of a signet.
I'm still not sure about it. I mean, Bodhi's signet, because so far what we've seen is the card making fire, and then Bodhi using their signet, and then the fire just disappears.
Oh, does it?
I don't remember see like throwing water or anything. It's just that the fire disappears.
Oh, okay.
That's why I think that I'm not sure if he does something like opposite against that signet, or it's just the signet disappears.
Yeah,
like it doesn't work, and that's his power.
Yeah, we don't know how his signet works. But anyway, I loved the parallel, like drawing a parallel with it, because maybe that's what gave him the idea.
Yeah, because, just remind me a little bit like when they're doing the runes, they like putting some of the magic in the runes. Could be maybe an option as well, that maybe they can put some on the signet, like, and the drink or in the rune or something, so the signet is still like there somehow.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
I liked it because it just draws a bit of a parallel between maybe they saw Bodhi's signet, or they're used to training at signet, and they got this idea. They thought, hang on, how can we counter it? But it is slightly different because it's like blocking the power rather than countering the power when the power arrives.
Okay.
But I like it.
Yeah, well done, Kelly.
Jackie talks about the fact that there's venin within the school, and they're going to take over the school, and all the riders will be powerless. So they're going to use the signet blocking serum against the riders. Yes. I love this. Harry Potter spoiler for about 30 seconds. It gives me Deathly Hallows vibes when the Death Eaters take over the school.
Yes.
And that would be... Like we know that there's lots of Harry Potter crossover, there's lots of Harry Potter inspo, and that I could totally see that happening, especially if Panchek takes over, which we suspect that he will, because there's that slight mention, the fact that he wants Lilith's job. Panchek could take over.
Yes.
And if he is with Varrish and Atos, which we also suspect, then venom could totally take over the school.
I have a few things to talk about it, about Panchek and about the venom as well, but that has to be when we go there. But it's going to be inside these chapters.
Okay.
But yeah, it's a few things there I was completely sure, and now I'm just questioning everything.
Yeah, that's so good.
Yeah.
Mo from Bookish Moments talks about how it doesn't just block the rider's signets, it also stops the venom from channeling. We totally agree with this. We think that is why it was created in the first place. So yeah, great catch. Lish from Lishful Reading. This one blew my mind.
Okay.
She thinks it enhances Daddy Atos's mind control. So we've got this theory that Daddy Atos can control minds. We're absolutely convinced. And Lishful Reading, who, incidentally, her Instagram is incredible. She's constantly posting really, really funny memes about Fourth Wing Iron Flame. She thinks that it could also be a link to Daddy Atos's mind control, and that this potion, elixir, serum thing also lets Daddy Atos control the venom. So it's more of a control thing rather than just a blocking signet thing. Anyway, you've all come in clutch, so thank you for submitting your theories. I'm going to do more of this. It's really good. It just makes... Because we would have just spoken about the Brennan theory, but friends on Instagram have so many good theories that we should just
definitely
throw some more stuff out to you all, because
But talking about Colonel Atos signet, because we're saying that it could be the mind control, because that's why we see what's going on with the cadets. They are like initiated from venom. So I was thinking right now, if he can control mind, why he's just like a colonel, why he's not being a general or the king, or like going further if he can control minds.
And why would they let him live? When it manifested, you'd be like, oh shit, this guy's a bit of a threat, roast him.
Yes, exactly. And like when
but then he'd be like, no, don't roast me. Don't roast me. And then they wouldn't be able to. Maybe he's playing a long game.
Well, General Sorrengail, it was so cross with him as well and sent him to this post as a punishment.
He'd be like, don't do it.
Yeah, it was just a joke, or it was funny, just laugh and let me carry on, let me stay here.
It would be more
unless that maybe he was planning and he's been...
He wanted Varrish in there.
Yeah, but again, if he can control mind, why he's not controlling Melgrins, why he's not controlling the kings to get everything what he wants right now. So for me, it's like maybe the signet is that he can control venom, mind, or mind. They are like intoxicated by magic, like the venom. So maybe that's the signet that he can intervene when somebody is like deeply connected with magic, like the venom.
Maybe what Lish is saying is that his signet isn't mind control, but the serum allows them to be controlled by him.
Yeah.
So I have to check. Maybe it's not just the signet, it's the serum.
Yes.
One more thing. Again, I'm in a conversation with Mo, Bookish Moments, about scorpion tails and how Andana later gets a scorpion tail, and it's a thing of need.
Yes.
And that could be the kind of anti-venom thing. So it could be there's also a bit of an ingredient in the serum that could come from scorpion tails. I didn't know who else had a scorpion tail dragon, but I was told that Bade, Jack's dragon, has a scorpion tail.
Yes.
Which is quite fitting. Maybe, but she didn't use it against her rider. Also Garrick and Quinn apparently have scorpion tails.
All right.
Yeah.
I knew the Andarna, she chose scorpion tail because the incident that happened in Reason with Tern and Violet. So when Violet was flying with Tern and this Benigo and Tern's back, Tern couldn't do anything, and Violet nearly died because of that. So I think because Andarna saw that, she saw that, well, I need a scorpion tail because with a scorpion tail, it will attack the venom
Yeah.
if he's in the back.
So I don't think that Andana makes any choice because of something she's seen happen in the past. I think Andana makes choices based on what is going to happen in the future. So we know that she had to hatch. She can predict. She knows what's going to happen, doesn't she? Because she knew she had to hatch.
She knew that Violet will be a rider even when everything was certain for being a scribe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She knows exactly where. So she always says, "I will be where I need to be." That's like she knows that she's going to be needed somewhere. I think she can still manipulate, or maybe not manipulate time, stop time, but I think she can see the future, Andana. I think she's got some kind of premonition power. I do think dragons are potentially hiding powers that they have. They said that Feathertails can channel their power directly, but then when they go into dreamless sleep, they lose their power. But I don't necessarily think they don't lose it. I think I think they've got a lot more power than they are letting on. That I thought was interesting, the scorpion tail, especially that Bade has it.
Yeah. I think will come a time where maybe we'll see that venom maybe in Andarna's back, and then we'll see Andarna just stabbing with the tail and then just throwing away.
Yeah, but she killed a venom. She ripped its head off.
Yes.
Everyone thinks that Andana's fire can kill venom. But I'm pretty sure she ripped the venom's head off just after she torched him. So she likes to flame grill her food before she eats. But I'm my number one out of all those series. I do love the Nolan's wife one, but of all those, I just can't shake the feeling that Brennan made it, because it's fine. I can get my hands on the solution. If I can get my hands on the solution, I can probably figure out an antidote. I glance at him. Or Brennan can.
Yeah, that's what I think. Okay, moving on.
Yeah.
Okay, so she goes back to Basgaya. She is prepared for the punishment. Just tell her that she will be around. Because obviously he won't let her take a punishment for something that he did. But Emeterio is the first one to see her, and he's the one who giving a little warn. The leadership is not happy with her.
Yeah.
And then he's giving some advice, and something that I really like about this scene is Emeterio telling her I don't have favorite cadets, but
you're my favorite.
Yeah, but if I have one, it would be you.
Yeah. Did you realize he was bald? I know this isn't a big point, but why is he oiling his head? I know this isn't important.
Need to ask for bald people, I guess.
Do they oil it? I'm sorry.
I think that it's kind of when they lose completely all the hair, the scalp gets so sensitive, like the skin.
Oh.
So they need to keep moisture or
yeah, but isn't it sunny?
Or...
I feel like that's a terrible idea if it's sunny. It's gonna get some. That is not important. I'm sorry. I don't know why I talked about that. But yeah, he likes Xaden, and So, do we think Emeterio sympathised with Fen Ryerson?
Could be.
Is Emeterio?
Maybe he knew everything from the beginning, and then he just stayed there because he had nowhere to go, nothing to do.
Yeah, we know he goes.
He goes to Eurasia to fight. But maybe in the First Revolution, he had suspicions, or he knew something, but he didn't have the balls to just join.
Maybe he didn't know,
or didn't have option.
Maybe he didn't know. Yeah, maybe his dragon knows. Well, obviously his dragon.
I think all the dragons knows.
Yeah, his dragon chooses to fight, doesn't it? So
yes.
And she says, just after speaking to him, maybe I should go straight to Panchak. She should have gone straight to Panchak.
It will be exactly the same that happened when she just went to the chamber, because at the end she gets exactly the same information. You're good.
Yeah, but she wouldn't have bumped into Varrish. But she would have run the risk of the dagger being...
If she would go to Pancha first, then Varrish won't be here and there waiting for her. So maybe she will hide the dagger or something, or maybe by the time that she goes to her room, Varrish won't be there.
I think he still
then Ree probably won't help her in the way that she helped her, and then she won't be telling her all the stories, because save everyone there.
Yeah. Are we on episode 3 or 4 of What the Fuck is Professor Kaori Doing? On today's episode of What the Fuck is Professor Kaori Doing? He looks up from his book as he walks towards me in the main corridor, his brows furrowed in concentration. Why is he reading and walking at Buzzgaia? It's such a dangerous place. It feels like, you know, when you're like walking and you're texting. You should stop texting before you cross the road, shouldn't you? That's like safety 101. I feel like you shouldn't be walking through Buzzgaia reading a book. It just feels a bit dangerous to me.
Yeah. We just want to make sure it's the book that he wants. They didn't forget it somewhere else. Just took another book.
It's like a bit of a liability in the Kaori.
I mean, and this is in what's coming after Varrish. He was like, he was really
helpful,
good there.
Yeah, I do really like him.
Kaori.
He's actually my favourite professor. I know he stays behind because his place, and he's the Dragon Watcher, and Ten seems suspicious of him, but Kaori's my favourite. His signet is awesome.
Yes.
Really awesome.
So, we'll talk about Varrish, Fandom, Violet, and start his routine of just checking everything, and then he sees that she's wearing Xaden's jacket.
He's clutching at straws, isn't he? He's like a desperate man at this point.
He's trying to find something like, she's pretending to be a lieutenant, and she was like, no, I'm not pretending to be anybody.
And
like,
he gets the rule wrong anyway. She corrects him, doesn't she?
Yes. And then they found out a Bodhi jacket as well. You're doing a collection.
Them. Yeah.
You can tell he's desperate to just get her in problem with something. Like he needs something just to take her. No luck until he got the jacket, and then Violet knows that the dagger is there, and if he finds out that she's going to be in trouble, Xaden's going to be in trouble, all the people that had the rebellion relic, they will die because of that. So just being there and doing the thing that she did is just awesome.
Yeah, she's so good. First, Kaori gives some attitude, doesn't he? He says, did I just hear you order your aides, or whatever you're calling them, to strip a cadet? He's like criticising Varrish for having aides. And then he says, power must always be kept in check, don't you think, Major Varrish? And he then comes back with Colonel Kaori, because obviously Colonel is a lower rank than Major.
Yeah.
So he says, are you accusing me of abusing my power where this cadet is concerned, Colonel Kaori? Varrish moves a step towards us, but my bag is in the way. Oh no, Kaori shakes his head. I think you abuse your power in general, which is like pretty ballsy, isn't it?
Oh yeah. Definitely.
Then Varrish goes through every single pocket of every single jacket that she has, and there's nothing there.
Yes, finds nothing. So, great. She did something that nobody was expecting at this time, I guess. They just summoned the dagger through the jacket, through the wall, and just get in the hand.
Yeah.
Which is awesome.
It's pretty awesome what Rhiannon does. But she's still watching them while she closes her door, and then Kaori talks down to Varrish and says, we can hardly expect a second year to shield out the overpowering emotions of her dragon when even we struggle as officers, let alone one as strong as 10. Maybe you struggle, Varrish snips, losing his customary slick indifference. Some of us do not bow to the whims of our dragons. In fact, we influence them. Kaori doesn't believe that at all, but he's saying that's worth contemplating, because does that mean you told Solus to torch all those squads on your first day at work?
After part of it. But yeah, it was like riders as well, they die as well, isn't it?
There's a load of squads. Yeah, he just wiped out most of Third Wing, didn't he?
Yeah, something like that.
I don't know. But that means we're starting to get the connection between possibly Venom and dragons. And that's foreshadowing, potentially.
Yeah, I was thinking exactly the same. Maybe because we suspect that Varrish is a Venom, maybe Venom can actually control the dragons.
Well, that's what Jack does, doesn't he? We know that by the end, so it's kind of a bit foreshadowing.
Yeah, and obviously Kaori tells him that this is something that you should mention before all this. he went to talk with Panchek. He said about all of this. How can you expect that Violet is going to be able to control all of this when she's just a second year and turn it like one of the strongest dragons? And his mate as well with Sorrengail. And Panchek is agreed. And for me, like, oh, like, it's not maybe an option that maybe Panchek would say, but still, like, trying to get Violet until.
So I don't think Panchek wants Violet dead. He can't do. One, if he's Venom, which I'm not necessarily. I'm not convinced he is. I'm not convinced Atos is as well. Like Daddy Atos. Lilith Sorrengail is his general.
Yes.
Like, I just don't think that he wants Violet dead. There'd be loads of ways that he could get her killed. He might want her dead later, but I don't think he wants to do it under Lilith's nose. So I do think Varrish is Venom at this point, and I think it's when I think it's very similar to when Jack turns. So Jack turns when Ten bonds with Violet. He realises Violet is more powerful than him. I think Varrish turns when Ten nearly kills Solus and he realises Violet is more powerful than him. So I think it's a trigger when people think that there's someone more powerful. They're like, no, I'm not having that. I'm going to be more powerful than you. So I don't think Panchek wants her dead at the moment. Varrish, I do think Varrish has it in for the Sorrengails. I think that he has something bad blood with Lilith. I've said this in a previous episode as well, but I am convinced that Varrish knew that Brennan and Naelin were lovers or in love because of his signet, being able to see somebody's weakness. I think he interrogated Naelin to get to Brennan. Lilith Sorrengail found out that he was after it because I think there's something to do with this prophecy and that he was suspicious of one of the Sorrengails. I think he knew of the prophecy of the 3 siblings, knew that it was related to the Sorrengails and wanted to wipe them all out because we know that Mira had an assassination attempt. We know that Violet did. So we suspect that I suspect that Brennan also did.
So, going back to this, I just see like obviously there's a disagreement between what Varrish wants and what Panchek wants, because Panchek here, he looked like a really reasonable man, because Kaori like explained the situation and Panchek is agree. Varrish is trying to get Violet from anything, like with the jackets.
Hates her.
Yes, so you can see that even when you see that these two are together, Panchek and Varrish, they're still not on the same wave or not on the same, like, I don't know if maybe because Panchek obviously has a bigger rank, he needs to be more sensible. He can't just do whatever because that will bring a lot of questions, and more when it's about the General Sorrengail's daughter as well.
Yeah, I think Varrish is unhinged. I think he's losing it. I think he's getting desperate, isn't he?
Yes, because after all the humiliation that he had with Terran and Violet just second year, and then the dragon making it look that weak.
He's embarrassing himself. But Kaori says, you're making enemies, Sorrengail. And then she says, I don't think I made that one. I think he came that way. And that's another hint that there's bad blood. And it's been a while and he's after her.
It's not Violet's fault. There's something going on with the Sorrengails.
Then we get into the room, finally. We get to tell our friends.
Violet is surprised about Rhea that she managed to do that. So
Rhea is surprised. She's never been able to do it before.
Yes, I knew she could do that. But this is when everyone goes in the room and now it's like, what's going on? What's happening? And then Violet says the last word is to kill Venom.
Do you think that the fact that Rihanna is able to do that is because of Violet's signet? So there's a few examples of this. 2 off the top of my head, but I'm sure there's more, and we'll have to keep an eye out for it. When I say signet, I mean her first signet. I don't mean the second signet. There's a theory that she could be an amplifier as her second signet. But I think that the fact that she's channeling pure power could be that she can also amplify other people's power. So we know that Rhiannon can't summon objects through walls. She has to be there and she can move it. But Violet's there. Violet needs her to be able to do it. And so she can do it. When she's fighting in the arena at Cordon, Mira can't manifest wards away from outside the wards. But because Violet needs her to do it, she can do it. I'm sure there's loads of other examples as well. Maybe we talked about this earlier in the episode. Maybe Brennan can't mend magic and you'd expect him not to be able to mend the wardstone. Violet's there. He can do it because she needs him to do it. So it could be to do with the fact that she's got pure power as her signet and she can kind of share that. She also needs her friends to be safe. We even say that she needs her friend. We hear her say, I'm someone who needs my friends. So is she amplifying their signets? But I think it's her first signet that's doing that, not her second signet. Or is it one of the daggers that Xaden... Is there a rune in there somewhere that amplifies people's who are near her, amplifies their signets?
I was thinking about it, like one of the runes maybe is the one who, when she needs one of the signets to do something for her, even when it's something really difficult, allows to do it.
That's incredibly powerful magic though, isn't it?
Yes, and obviously, like you say, always happen when Violet really need it, when it's like something that is like life or death, a situation.
It could be like an amplification rune or something, couldn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's because maybe the signet, because she's put power, and maybe she's like channeling that desire for this person to do what she needs. Then she can give it that power, so the signet gets stronger.
It was like a booster.
For that moment. Yes, exactly. Or maybe it's one of the daggers that allow her to maybe amplify the signet that she needs to use.
Yeah. Could work against her. Oh no, it's only if she needs it. Yeah.
Yeah, when it's like something desperate she needs, like when she needs to go out in the interrogation room, she was desperate to need it, and then it works. So maybe the other one is about signets.
But if you think about it, she's got her daggers on her now when Rhi does that thing. When she summons through the wall. She's got her daggers in the arena in Cordon when Mira amplifies. She's got her daggers in the ward chamber. So there's always... But she's also got her signet. I think it's one of those things. It's either an amplification rune and a dagger, or it's a part of her power signet.
Yeah, I would believe more is one of the runes, to be honest, because the other one... That will be like a signet that has like multi-use, because she has pure power.
I think it does. I think she could be a luminary herself. Like, I think she can concentrate power. I think she's a walking luminary. I think she's the weapon that's gonna...
And all the venom.
Yeah, because of this pure power that she's wielding. Anyway, I love that theory.
Okay.
And it says she's sick of lying to Rhiannon. She's sick of lying to her friends. She swallows a lump in her throat and meets her gaze. It's for killing venom. Secret's out.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh my goodness. Chapter 30.
Chapter
That's
30.
taken us nearly an hour.
Well, we're going to recover it in chapter 31, I think.
Page and a half.
Page and a half.
Yeah.
Don't have that much to say on that one, so I don't know about you.
No. So we're back to the Basgiath War College Code of Conduct, not the Codex. Barring invasion, only riders and designated scribes are permitted in the riders' quadrant. To enter uninvited as infantry or even healer is to welcome a swift death. This suggests that scribes are slightly different. So it says designated scribes, but to enter even as infantry or healer is a no-go.
Yeah.
And also... Why? What the fuck? They're all on the same side.
Yeah, this is school, isn't it? So why?
Yeah. It's weird.
It doesn't feel like fair.
No. Well, it's not just fair, it's just a bit weird.
Mhm.
Is it because you can't... No, I don't know. Sorry, I can't even think of anything. Obviously, it's relating to the fact that we've got some infantry soldiers on the warpath, isn't it? The 4 that are being paid by Dane's dad to assassinate Aya and
Violet.
Yeah. Like, back in the room, she tells them everything. She tells them everything except when it comes to revealing how and where she woke up, her tongue ties. She just can't do it. Is this another rune thing? Has she got a dagger rune that prevents her from talking about Erasure? The fact that her tongue ties, she just can't do it. But then she does go on to say that it's not because she doesn't trust them, it's because it's not her secret to tell. And it betrays Xaden and Brennan, and it risks every life in Erasure.
That could be something really interesting, because maybe Violet is like telling the whole thing, and maybe when she's thinking about Erasure, then boom, she had that feeling, and maybe like she thinks that her body telling her, yeah, I shouldn't say that because it's not mine. Well, actually, maybe the rune working.
Maybe it's something else. Maybe it's the silver scar across Xaden's heart. Maybe she can't physically betray him.
You think? Then maybe say, but that would be like Xaden not trusting her, like trying to controlling her.
Well, maybe she knows, because we're going to talk a little bit about why Garrick maybe didn't kill the prince himself a little bit later.
Mm-hmm.
This is a similar thing, that knowing that... Does she know now? She does know, doesn't she?
I don't think so.
Oh.
She knows about the scar, but I don't think she knows the reason.
I think she does. Okay, anyway. It could be another thing where she can't betray Xaden because he took responsibility for her. Anyway.
Yes.
She tells her about the daggers. She tells her about Jacinia sneaking classified books out. That's not her secret to tell. That's betraying Jacinia. So she's okay to betray Jacinia, but she's not okay to betray Xaden, and that's why I think there's some magic behind it. Because that's not her secret to tell.
I guess it's more because it's not just Xaden, it's everything related to Xaden. It means Erasure, a whole city.
Yeah, but Jacinia would die.
Yeah, but it's better that maybe Jacinia die than maybe then find out what's going on, or somebody else find out that Erasure is built.
Jacinia wrote this.
So we know that she's fine in the end.
No, she translated this, so she must have thought, "Oh, very fine, thanks, Violet. But that's not your secret to tell me, and you've done it anyway." Even the theory that Navarre knows how to lure Venin, that one is a bit of a random one to stick in there, and that is obviously foreshadowing for the end of the book.
Yeah, for me, obviously, the thing that caught my attention was that when they were listening to this, so. I think the very first time I was like, oh, they're not going to believe her. But they check with the dragons. So each one of them are checking with the dragon, like, is that true? Is she telling the truth? Or what's going on? Do you know anything? And the dragons confirm that yes, they know. And they even like surprise the Violet knows as well. And like, oh, okay. So you can see like how much go the secrets about dragons. And for them, we're like, okay, shit, it's all true. What are we gonna do?
And Sawyer says, and you let Ryerson lie for you. Sawyer folds his arms across his chest. I don't understand why he says that.
I don't know. Maybe he was expecting more from Violet, but not like Xaden carrying all the blame, all the responsibility or something.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a bit of a weird one.
Yeah. Really, we need to keep an eye on Sawyer because we know that Rebecca Yarros is building
a big
something
arc,
for him. These kind of things is a hint as well about what Sawyer will do on Onyx's Stone.
Yeah. Yeah, I think what he says about living in Lucerus is really interesting because Riddick can't believe that they can keep a secret so big, but he talks about the fact that it's literally as easy as Markham deciding what gets printed and what doesn't, because the only news they get. And they also said we aren't even open to trading vessels from the Isle Kingdoms, so that we get another mention of the Isle Kingdoms. And I wonder, do the Isle Kingdoms know what's going on? if not, why not? Why haven't have Poor Emil approached the Isle Kingdoms for support?
Probably because location, the Isle Kingdoms, they are not affected as the rest of the continent.
Can Venom not swim or get a boat?
Yeah, maybe they don't know how to row the boat.
I don't think they need to because
Well, they have wyverns, so they should be
Yeah,
able
they
to
should
fly
fly.
directly.
But I don't think they need to, do they? Because there's so much magic in the Vale. They want to get to the Vale for some reason.
Exactly. That's like they're looking for magic, and maybe there's not that much, or they think there's not that much in the Isle Kingdom.
Or we think they're looking for magic in the Vale, but are they actually just needing to take down Navarre?
It's obviously it's a few things going on between Venants, and it's like how depend how it's going to be your point of view. It could be one thing or another one. That's something that we need to talk later on. Chapter 31.
So Violet notes that Rhiannon's reaction to her keeping a secret is totally different to her reaction when she found out about it with Xaden. And she talks about the fact that even if it makes me a target, to know all of it, you put your own life at risk and shared your boot with me at Parapet. And that made me think, does she actually owe her a life debt? Because you know that life debts are kind of a thing in this series, because we get one shortly with Jack Barlow, or we get mention of one. Then we get cadet life debt in RSC, the healer, who is about to, in the next set of chapters, about to repay that debt.
Yeah.
And then I thought about Rhiannon's that shared the boot, and I thought about why Rhiannon might have manifested the signet, and that obviously plays on her mind, and she maybe thinks I shouldn't be here. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Violet because I didn't have the right boot. And so is it the fact that she didn't have the right tool that she needs to be able to summon stuff?
To grab somebody's boots.
Yeah, she could have just taken them off somebody's feet. She could have taken the other one. If she had a summoning power, then
contrasting Ray now.
she could have taken the other boot off straight off Violet's foot. And then they say the four of us stick together, we make it to graduation no matter what. Do we think they're all going to graduate?
No, we think Riddler's going to die in Onyx's Star, isn't it?
I think they're all going to graduate.
That is just not realistic for Rebecca Yarros.
So yes, they say we're not going to let Ryerson do all the work. What are we going to do?
Violet said that she wants to build the walls, and she's trying to find a book that's talking about it. But we need to just find a book that's at least 400 years old. And the problem is that Violet is just rolling out ideas because the one they just have found, they say nothing about it. So that's when Riddock come to the rescue.
Riddock!
And he says something that when they were looking for something in General Sorrengail's office, he remembered that he saw something about some journals about two of the first six. And they were talking about they had the journal from Lyra and Warwick. And they were just mind blown. What?
Yeah. So when we did our first series, you hadn't read the whole book, and I was like, this is going to come back. And I desperately wanted to give Riddock the credit because he was messing around in that room, and you thought, Sawyer even says something like, we don't have time for you to be you right now. But he is looking for stuff, and he's helping, and it just takes another year.
Did you notice the really first time, or it was a surprise for you as well, when you were reading that Riddock came with this thing? Oh yeah,
it was a surprise. He doesn't even.
There's no mention about it, isn't it?
I read it again in preparation for this episode. There's no mention of it. I wonder if it came to Rebecca later.
Yes. There's nothing this is interesting, or oh wow, or anything to make you think what he's seeing, or.
So the only thing there is, before is that somebody suggests the archives, and they say, and Violet says, no, it's locked after 7. And then again, we get this link to the fact that the books, it's locked after 7. So
something that I was thinking that obviously when Rita comes with this, so oh God, now what else we haven't just overseen, and we haven't paying attention that much.
Oh, it's going to be so much. It's going to slap us in the face.
Once we have Onyx Stone, it's going to be reading Iron Flame again.
Yeah.
Like, of course.
It's like Nostradamus's quatrains. It's really easy to make the connections afterwards.
Yes.
The classified ledger in Lilith's office says that there are 2 journals. What else is in that classified ledger? Do you think they'll come? Do you think it will come back?
Yes, definitely. I think we're going to find out more stuff because it's still like so many pieces missing about the full story.
Yeah.
So I think we're going to find out maybe more stuff about the first 6, and then we're going to find out what happened.
And what's in Daddy Sorrengail's research. Because I think that Daddy Sorrengail would have had access to the classified ledger, whether officially or unofficially, through Lilith. I think he would have had access.
Yeah. I think, I don't know why, but I had that feeling that Colonel Daxton is actually Daxton Sorrengail.
Yeah, I do as well.
Yeah.
Jacinia would know if we had those books, let alone the sub-level vault. My father would have told me, wouldn't he? Do you think he knew?
Well, I think that he knew, but I don't think he was allowed to tell anyone else because that would be maybe something so secret that it would put maybe Violet at risk.
Yeah, he
she
wouldn't.
knows about it, or if she just, like with the book, with the fables of the Baron.
The Baron, yeah.
She's not supposed to have that book, and she was like telling everyone about this amazing book.
That's
and
because he
whatever.
didn't tell her to keep it a secret. That was his fault.
Yeah,
I do think that was his fault.
but still, so she knows that. Well, he knows.
Yeah.
There's stuff that he can't tell because of the rank that he has.
Yeah.
And that's something that you were expecting from military. There will be stuff.
You don't go around telling your kids stuff, do you?
Yeah, exactly. Or even the wife, if you're like a
Well,
secret
yeah,
mission.
you can't.
It's part of your job, so
Yeah.
you can't.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's where there's like maybe a bit of a there could be a conflict where Lilith knew because of her rank. If Daddy Sorrengail is a lower rank, then they would have been she knew but he didn't. But there's a family connection there, isn't it? Either Lilith is a Venom from when she channeled when she was pregnant, or Violet is part Venom, or like there's something there, isn't there? Also, he goes a bit doolally after the revolution or after the apostasy.
Yeah.
And we had this thought that he was the scribe in the room when Fen was being interrogated.
Yeah.
And we also think that Brennan channeled, and that's why Fen shot him with an arrow, because he was shooting a Venom. It could be that he went crazy because Brennan turned into Venom.
If Daddy Sorrengail have maybe issues trying to put Lily Sorrengail back to normal, and they found out that Brennan was a Venom as well. So that might be looking like, oh my god, all my family is turning into Venom, and there's this massive war here going on, so I need to do something. So that's why maybe he was more invest on finding a cure.
Yeah, but he got killed, didn't he?
Yeah.
So Jacinia knows nothing about it, but the research is going a lot faster now that there's 4 of them on it. We get a bit of a chunk of time gone. She doesn't get to tell Xaden, but she's still avoiding Jack Barlow, who's weirdly nice to everyone. It's like he met Malak and decided to come back a decent guy. I love this. We keep getting talk of meeting Malak. We're definitely going to meet Malak, aren't we?
Not sure.
I definitely think we are.
Maybe like a vision or something that you don't know if it's happening, or
No.
like with Leon. I think it might be something like that.
No, Violet's going to die. She's going to meet Malak. She's going to have a conversation with him. It's going to be on his big throne. It's going to be Nayland. The way that I thought. Rhiannon observes when we catch him tutoring first years on the mat, but I still don't trust him. Why? Why is he tutoring first years on the mat? Are they also Venom first years?
Recruiting, maybe.
Yeah. Sawyer stumbles onto a 300-year-old passage that confirms more than one wardstone was created. Do we think there's more than 2?
I don't think so, because the third one we know there was like made by the first 6, and the second one maybe the same. They were trying to do that, but didn't work because they didn't have the 7th dragon. So why would they go for a third one if they can't even do a second one?
Well, they couldn't extend the wards, could they?
Well, then maybe they were like, okay, we need to do this many to protect the whole continent.
Well, that's what I think.
They make them and then like, oh shit, we don't have all the dragons.
I think they were trying to make them to protect the original hatching grounds.
Mm-hmm.
The only reason everyone moved to the Vale was because they couldn't extend the wards. You know, it's like an umbrella, isn't it? And they're trying to extend
that was the only place when actually it worked. The wards and safe. Yeah.
But when they made them, they didn't even know that they could extend them. They just thought that they would be like little umbrellas. So I think they put them at potentially all the hatching grounds.
Yeah.
Because we know that Erasure is the Doomedine line. That's the Black Dragons, which is fitting because their future king or whatever, the guy that's supposed to be on the throne, is a shadow daddy, and it's all like. Anyway, it's where the magic is strongest, isn't it? And that's where the hatching grounds are. So, why isn't there one at all of them? And if there's one in the Esben Mountains where the oranges hatched, that could have extended way further out into Poramil. She's not able to tell Xaden for weeks because they can't see each other. Yes. On Saturday, Xaden's on duty in the ops room. Mira's also out on patrol, so she's having a shit time. Message received. Jen and Sorrengail won't be denied, but Xaden and I only get to see each other when we play by the rules. Varrish has determined that we've broken too many.
Yeah.
There's two things wrong with this. One, is Ten hiding things from Sorrengail? Ten's still seeing her. Violet's just gone and told everyone about Venin. But Xaden doesn't know. So is Ten hiding that from Sorrengail?
Definitely. Because we know that between them there's stuff that they don't tell each other.
He got so pissed off with Sorrengail when she didn't tell him about the intrinsic thing.
Yeah,
although
exactly.
That is like he's basically doing something that takes away his rider's independence of thought. So I get why he's upset about that. But he's obviously hiding that, isn't he?
Oh, yeah.
Did you think about that? Because I've read this book 4 or 5 times, and that's the first time I've read it and thought, hang on a minute, secrets there.
I was just assuming that they basically don't talk that much about work. That maybe they're focused on other stuff.
It's not work at this point, though, is it? Like, it's not work. It's defending your continent. It's not work. It's like a purpose. They definitely would talk about it. You know how I am with my job.
Yeah.
Like, that's not just work. Like, I really care about doing that. So, like, I think it's the same.
Yeah.
And you don't just do, like, 9 to 5 and then you have a break, do you? You're constantly thinking about how you're going to stop the venom.
Well, these guys never have a break because they are in the army. So it's just...
Yeah.
That's the family, that's the life.
Yeah. But also, the second thing that's wrong with that is that they are actually going to be denied. So it says Ten and Sorrengail won't be denied, but the following week they are denied because Violet has. They say, well, she can go, but the whole squad will receive 0 in this training exercise. So Ten doesn't actually have a choice. He makes the choice for her. So they are denied.
Yeah. The thing I was thinking as well is like, okay, Ten and Sorrengail, they are made and they had this bond. They need to see each other at least in these turns, like at least once every week. What happened then if maybe it's just Ten, the one who decides to go to Samara by himself and just leave Violet Basquiat?
You can't.
So I know they had to protect the riders and everything as well.
No, the distance isn't the distance really hard? Although Violet leaves Andana behind a lot of the time.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Obviously, it's more about the concern that nothing bad is going to happen to the rider because if, like in Terran's case, he will die. But it's not for every single dragon's case. No,
but if Sorrengail dies, he's going to die too. So, but he thinks that she can protect herself. Well, he knows that Sorrengail can protect herself. She doesn't really trust Violet to be able to. Although he nearly messes up soon. we go to threshing.
Yeah.
And it's so sad that this doesn't get any more airtime. I want to be in the forest
with Auric.
with Auric, Sloane. I want to know what happens.
I guess it's just because obviously they're no main characters, then there's no point to
I know, but threshing was my
it.
favourite. Threshing was the best bit in Fourth Wing, and that's when I started to get like properly hooked.
No, it was exactly the same for me.
So
When
good.
Xaden was there and threshing, trying to protect Violet, was like the party was like, oh my god, it's so
Yeah.
good. So Auric burns a blue clubtail.
Yeah.
So now we know there's more blue dragons, a part of Sorrengail. And then other thing that was for me maybe kind of like foreshadowing Sloane. She got a red dagger tail, and Violet say, just like her brother.
Yeah.
So like
She's gonna
that
die
mean-
to save Violet. No. I don't want her to die. I think she's gonna I think she is gonna cure Xaden though. Wouldn't it be great if that dragon was Day's sibling?
yeah,
From the same hatchlings.
Yeah,
I think it's cool. Like blue dragon, like I'd love to have a blue dragon. That would be, although black is quite quickly becoming my favourite colour. I think the blue dragon, like having a blue dragon would be super cool. But it makes me think of royalty. So when I don't know if this is the same everywhere, but in the UK we say if you're blue blooded, you're royal.
yeah. I think it's like a international.
Is it
thing.
yeah,
Yeah.
maybe. And the blue clubtail bonded Auric, he's
Mhm.
royal. And Sorrengail bonded Xaden, who should be on the throne of Tyrrendor if they hadn't unified. So there's a thing to do with royalty, I think, and a blue dragon connection.
Yeah, blue blood. Yeah,
Yeah, and at this point we don't know that Xaden should be royal because we only get that in the throne scene, don't we? Later
Yes.
on. I'm not supposed to like Sloane, and this breaks my rule because at the moment, like with Dane,
mm-hmm.
the way I feel about him is exactly how it's written on the page. I don't think about his redemption arc. But with Sloane, I am a bit more sympathetic. She's lost her brother. She thinks it's Violet's fault.
Liam was
Yeah.
everything for her. So I think that's the problem. The Sloane loves how much like her brother. They found out that Violet was the reason that he died. And,
Yeah.
like give you that.
But she has to leave, so we don't get much time. We know that, so we get a letter from Jacinia. She's
Jacinia,
found
yeah.
the vault. I've got things to say about that.
Yes, and then it's Ridoc, the one that goes to see her just to see what she
Yeah.
found out.
I bet Sawyer really wants to go, but he can't sign.
I mean, it's been a couple of times that you see how much Sawyer's interested to go to the archives, and even
Yeah.
Ridoc is just laughing like,
Yeah.
yeah, we know why.
Oh, but yeah, it's just she has to go and take over the watch. Is this
Mhm.
the thing? Like, this seemed to come from nowhere for me. Like, yeah, obviously they have to take watch, but it felt a bit like it was a bit random.
hmm
Is it a punishment, or is it? It's just something they have to do?
No, I think it's part of the duties as a second year, because I think obviously when you start to have more experience, then you have to have more responsibilities as well.
Yeah.
So they were like helping when the cadets were just going to the parapet or doing this kind of stuff.
Mm.
So I think it's normal. It's just that we haven't seen it before, but it's like kind of the day and the army. Oh,
yeah,
this
but
kind
it's
of
the
work.
first time that she's done it. Like, obviously,
Oh, yeah,
you don't
of
have to do it
course.
that often.
I think
And
we don't know like all the routine that she got every single day or
Yeah.
the starts.
Riddick offers to take over, and then he says, after your watch, come and celebrate. But unfortunately, I think you limit yourself to celebrating with Ryerson now. It's like he's sad about it.
Yeah, and she laughed.
Yeah,
So
they're just like friends.
oh yeah, she goes to the terrain. She finds Aya.
Aya, I don't know.
Yeah,
Um,
Aya, I think.
I would like to do this watch because you know how cold I get.
Yeah.
I like being sat by the burn pit. I think I would quite like that. I'd take some marshmallows.
Yeah.
You could.
Yes, but obviously Aya wasn't the only thing that she found out there. She found out, well, for infantry guys waiting for them, and I think Violet knew already what is going to happen.
Yeah, secrets die with those who keep them.
Yeah, like, well, don't tell me that again because I know. And they start to fight. I didn't make it, so she gets stabbed. I think this is a scene.
Did Xaden give Violet the daggers? I'm obsessed with this now. Did Xaden give Violet the daggers before Jack Barlow died, in inverted commas?
I think so, because that was when she got the signet for the first time, and Xaden was training her before so she can be a strong cadet. So I think she had the daggers with her.
So
when he died.
we know that he's ruined them against Cat?
Yeah.
Could he also have ruined them against Jack?
I don't know exactly what he means when it won't work, like he did it against Cat.
Blocks her.
But I don't know if
signet.
it's like exactly like specifically Cat or is the power the cat
The power that
has.
Cat has.
So that would mean that anything related to that kind of power,
No,
like
I
mind
don't know.
controlling,
I think it's specifically Cat, isn't it? She doesn't control. She just like wields emotion.
intensify.
Yeah.
Yes.
I just wonder, like, there's so much, and I know we're not there yet, so sorry, I just had one of those things, but she's got her daggers with her all the time, so I'm on permanent watch for the dagger theory. And she screams.
There's nothing the Violet can do in this time, which is weird because she is always saying like, "Oh no, lightning wielder, I can manage, like, do everything myself," but she don't try any time in this scene, like, do something about it. I guess it's just because they're like just too close and don't want to like kill herself or the people around, so she can't actually do anything.
Yeah.
But she is falling, and the guys are just there trying to kill her. So it's not personal, it's just money.
Yeah.
Say a couple of times, it's just money, it's just money. And then somebody kills her, or well, he gets stabbed as well in the spine.
Oh no, it's gross. So basically, his eye bulge and he gurgles, grabbing his throat, and the dagger, whose tip protrudes a few inches below his chin, stabbed him through the neck.
Yeah, go through the other side.
Do you want to know what my note on my Kindle is?
You?
Gross. That made me feel sick. In fact, you know, I have this like physical empathy where like, obviously I don't know what it feels like to be stabbed in the neck, but I'm struggling to talk thinking about this.
Yeah.
I can feel my like throat
feeling
swelling
funny.
up. Yeah. No, can't cope with that. Move on. Chapter 31.
Chapter 31.
Everyone thinks most rider cadets die from dragonfire. Truth be told, it's usually gravity that gets us.
I think that will show threshing when Violet fall the very first time as well, and other people fall. Like if you can manage to be in your dragon, you will die. During flying maneuvers, some people die as well.
I know, but most rider cadets don't die from dragonfire. They don't, do they?
I don't know if he means like when you talk to maybe to other dragon, they shouldn't be your dragon, they just die because you just messed up. And that's like one of the things that we always think about, why Violet is talking to other dragons and it doesn't happen to her. When you see that maybe if you are looking at dragon in a funny way or you do something, a dragon will just touch you.
Yeah, but most people die on parapet. You can't really say they're riders cadets. They're like conscripts.
Aspirants.
Yeah, so they fall off gravity. A lot of them die from being on the mat, like
Stabbed by
being
other
stabbed
cadets.
by other cadets, which is just bonkers. But anyway, then they've got the gauntlet, gravity.
Mhm.
Then you've got threshing, which is like other cadets or dragon. Sorry, the presentation is dragonfire. There's one or two. Well, it's not one or two. It's like tens, isn't it?
Yeah.
Not hundreds. It's tens. Then you've got threshing, which is other cadets or dragonfire, and falling off.
Mhm.
And then everything else is falling off. So unless you break the rules, I don't know why you're saying everyone thinks rider cadets die from dragonfire.
Because it doesn't happen that very often.
No, it's obvious. It's obvious it's gravity. But also...
Maybe he's not talking about rider. Maybe he's talking about people from outside. Obviously, because you had a dragon, then you more likely die because dragon fire.
Yeah, you could be right. Truth be told, it's usually gravity that gets us. The first thing I thought of when I read this, like the first time, was how many times that Violet calls Xaden her gravity.
So it's gravity killing everyone. Say that.
It's gravity that kills us. No, it's like talking about Violet. They're not going to die, but you know what I mean.
Mhm.
But it made me think of him because there's a lot of talk about gravity.
Yeah.
But obviously she's just falling off a tower, so it's like literally gravity. And that's what I think you're supposed to think of from this. But you also think maybe how did Brennan die? Fen shot at him, but maybe he shot at him. Say if he wasn't Venom, maybe Fen didn't actually want to injure him, so he shot his arm or he shot his foot, or he shot his leg or whatever.
Yeah.
And he fell, rather than the fact that he was shot
Mhm.
and died. So, I don't know, so much in that, but I'm still no further forward. Blonde hair and icy blue eyes appear above me. Icy blue eyes. So it can't be Jack, can it? Because he's got red-rimmed eyes. No, it is Jack. Jack Barlow.
This is something really interesting. Do you see that coming? Like Jack saving Violet life?
No, obviously not.
When I saw there was Jack, the one who was saving Violet's life, my first theory, saying a couple of times that maybe Nolan mended the brain or all the bad energy that this guy have, and then he was turning to a good guy. I was like, well, it could be possible that maybe he's turning to a good guy, but maybe later on it was just all pretending. But we know that he was a Venom and he is saving Violet. We suspect that maybe he is working for Colonel Athos, and Colonel Athos wants to kill Violet. Actually, those hitmen there was sent by Colonel Athos. So I was thinking, why if Jack is with Athos is not allowing to this happening? And the only thing that comes to my mind was like, maybe it's because Jack is really connected to like the proper Venom. So it made me think that maybe, yes, there's like two kind of Venoms. So the one that are working just for General Daramore or the big guy, the general being who...
Because they want to keep her alive.
Yes, because they need the power. They want the power from Violet, so they want to keep her alive. And then there's the other Venom that maybe there's not as powerful as the full Venom. So like this one, the Violet kill and the Mad, or maybe Jack at some point. But these ones are the ones that are being controlled by Colonel Athos.
Mm-hmm.
So I think maybe they will start to see this kind of like a diversion about the Venom interest.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's like you got Venom, and then you've got budget Venom that Athos and potentially Panchak are building this army of budget Venom.
Like puppet Venoms,
Yeah.
basically. Yes.
Yeah, that imitation Venom. And they've just taken inspiration from the real Venom. But actually maybe the real Venom are not the bad guys.
Yeah.
The imitation Venom are. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Because Varrish and Daddy Athos want her dead, whereas the Venom don't. And that is what I wrote down as my notes for this. And yeah, I think you've possibly made me feel like that could be
There's a
reason.
interest. Yeah.
Jack maybe not be Venom at all,
Mm-hmm.
like you said, or he might be full Venom. Like, that's the thing. It makes me think that Athos isn't a Venom. I really don't think Athos is Venom.
No, I think somehow he managed to control, not maybe control Venom, but I think he's doing like an army of super soldiers with Venom characteristics. So I don't know how much these people can challenge from the ground, or how much they can turn into a like full Venom. Because so far we haven't seen it, just people that just start to channel from the ground. So the only thing that you see is the red eyes, but you don't see anything else like the one from Reason.
Yeah.
So we know that he is deeply connected to Ben somehow.
Yeah.
But this part here with Jack is contradictory.
Yeah, but he gives his own reason, doesn't he? He says, I was on Dawn's watch for first wing and ran when I heard the screams, and well, riders don't die at the hands of infantry.
Mm-hmm.
This made me think of Fen. Obviously, Fen is infantry. Is there some history there, maybe with family members? Because we know at the end he says, I guess we're brothers now.
Yeah.
Don't know. Makes me think of something. Riders don't die at the hands of infantry. Like, there's history there. And we know Fen Ryerson was infantry. So what happened?
For me, it's more about riders. They had this massive ego and they don't see infantry like worthy.
Yeah.
It's the same that, you know, what happens with Radar, with the settlement.
RSC.
Yes. So it's something about between riders and infantry. They are part of the same school.
Team.
Yeah.
And then he goes on about how this death, she's like, I killed you. And he's like, do you want to just rewind and I'll let you fall?
Mm-hmm.
And she doesn't get that. She's like, no, as if he wasn't just joking about it. Well, that death was kind of a second chance for me. You don't know who you really are until you face down Malak. Another mention of meeting Malak. So the way I see this is I just gave you a second chance too. We're even. Right, the maths isn't mathing. She killed him,
Mm-hmm.
kind of. He got a second chance. This is where it feels like he is cured at this point, because he does believe he got a second chance. But then he's not cured in the end.
That's what I told you there. I think maybe Nolan managed to like put in like completely human or completely rider, but then something happened. They need to keep an eye on it.
Yeah.
They make a Jack to challenge from the ground again. So I think at this point maybe he's not.
He needs his nicotine patch, like Brennan's got.
But obviously we don't know if he's just pretending, or here he's like talking sincerely that he nearly died, and that make it like have this epiphany that okay, I need to change because that's not the life that I want to. And that way say, okay, you give me that chance, that second chance. No, I give you a second chance too, so we're even.
And Nolan does say at the end, doesn't he? He says, you have a choice.
And then he say, yes, and I choose behavior again.
And I choose the dark side.
Yeah.
So they're even. Anyway.
Yes, and then he just left.
Yeah.
And then Rita comes back. What's going on?
And she says, I owe him 2 lives. The one I took from him and the one he just gave me.
Yeah.
Will that come back?
I think so. Because in the end of Iron Flame, it was pretty clear that Jack is just...
It's bad.
Yeah. I don't think we'll see maybe a time where maybe she has to kill him. And then Violet's going to be like, oh no, I can't because he saved my life. I think he just will do it.
Yeah.
Nothing about it. Make sure that this time he's dead for good. Redoc comes back and then he says that, well, he saw Yesenia. The good news is that, yes, there's a vault when we can get this book. The bad news is there has to be somebody in the bloodline or the Kentaurans, so there's no way that we can pass. I'm sorry, Violet. And they were like,
That's a good thing we have access to a prince who happens to hate his father.
Yeah. Coincidence, isn't it?
Yes.
And that's the end of chapter 31. I think we talk more about the actual words there was in that chapter, because that chapter is literally just one page
I know.
and a half.
We are chatting a lot tonight, aren't we?
Okay, moving on then. Chapter 32.
Yeah. Gods save us from the ambitions of second years. They think they've experienced everything because they survived their first year, but in reality they only know enough to get themselves killed. This is a weird one for me. I don't really get it. I don't see how it relates to this chapter. Again, is it just supposed to make us think that they're all going to die?
I think so, because they're talking about they are less so overconfident because they managed to be alive in the first year. Then maybe that's why they think that, oh yeah, we can go to the royal ball and stall it because we are awesome, we're still alive.
Is it because they were successful stealing the map in first year? But it's not just second years. You've got Imogen, you've got Xaden, you've got Auric, who's a first year. It's weird. It doesn't fit with this chapter.
The plan is from Violet, because Violet is the one who is putting all the pieces together.
Yeah, it's not really a plan either, is it? Reminds me, again, another Harry Potter reference, but it reminds me of the Ministry of Magic situation for the locket. The only thing, because I desperately try and think, why is this here? Because I do think there's so much in the epigraphs. It made me wonder about when Xaden's granddad died in the quadrant. I know that there's a big theory that he's still alive and he's Venom, but and
I don't see it.
I like it because that could be why Sorrengail is so pissed off with Xaden at the end, because she's like, another one. I didn't see this coming.
Yeah, but probably that would be the reason for not choose Xaden.
Yeah, exactly.
See the granddad, it was a Venom, so like, oh no, I don't want that happen to me again. So that's one thing. The other one is that there's no more reference about Bodhi, so like he actually died. But
the question is, what was his role? Was his role to bond with Sorrengail so that Xaden got 2 signets? Because if that was all it was and he's dead, it's fine. But and I can't see that he's got a bigger role in that. But I could be totally wrong. Like Rebecca is queen of twists.
The thing is, Rebecca just can't use the same card over and over. Like, they were dead, actually they were not, and then they were good guys, actually they're the bad guys, and the bad guys they're good guys, because in the end it's just like
the same thing. Book. That's why I feel like Naelin's dead, or Naelin is Malik. That's why I can't. But I see the theory. I see the logic to the theories. I just hope it's not that, because it's the same as Jack. Like, he died and he came back.
Yeah, exactly. So as a writer, you need to make sure that you don't repeat yourself a lot. You need to come with new ideas.
Yeah, and she's so good. But she is queen of twists. It'll be something that we didn't see.
We haven't seen it.
Yeah. But it made me think of, maybe was Xaden's granddad just overconfident and he got himself killed in the second year.
Violet's talking with Xaden, and she tells everything, all the people they know about him, and Xaden is just like not reacting.
He's trying not to react, isn't he? He's like counting to 10 in his head, and I think every single parent who is listening to us right now would have been in that situation at some point where you close your eyes and you're like, right, 1, 2, 3.
Just breathe.
Yeah. But shadows aren't creeping out from under the bed, so he can't be that angry. Yeah.
I think maybe it's more about he saw it coming. He thought when for him it works, just be alone and not talk with people. For Violet, it's all the opposite. And he knew already, because he can read intentions. So he knew that maybe there was something going on. So he was already prepared for that. But I think that he wasn't prepared about like all the people that has to be involved, especially Auric, about Violet's plan. Until this point, there's a truth that's about to be revealed. We didn't know anything about it.
Yeah. Well, we knew he killed a rider. We knew he killed someone at Threshing, because that's the epigraph in chapter 10. We didn't know it was the prince.
Yeah.
We knew he killed someone, and that's why Sorrengail chose him.
Yeah.
It's kind of a half-baked plan, isn't it? And he calls it an idea, and she's like, it's not an idea, it's a plan. And he's like, well, did you think about this? Did you think about that? Did you think about this? And she's like, oh no, I wasn't really borrowing tomorrow's trouble on that one. That's like a fantasy way of saying that's a future me problem.
Xaden is in, so he knows there's nothing that he can discuss about books or what he can find out. Even he said that he liked to be the battle that he knows he can win.
Yeah, and I also like this because this is a shadow of previous book, because they have Fourth Wing Xaden, where he wasn't desperately trying to save her life all the time, and he wasn't trying to protect her. Like he is a bit Dane sometimes in this book, isn't he? He's overprotective. He wants to keep her out of harm's way. Whereas this one, he is like,
yeah. So basically, he knows that what she's planning to do is something reckless. There's something that if it doesn't work, they will get killed, because it's something that it's not just that's prohibited. It's something that easily they can just get killed, no questions asked about it.
Yeah.
But he knows as well that is the only option, the only shot they have. So it's something that has to be done. So I think he thinks, okay, if this is something that has to be done, I'm sure that he's going to do it anyway, regardless. So better go in.
But he says, I'm with you, I'll do this. But I'll kill Auric if he says no. That's what he's trying to say.
Then they gather all together in Violet's room, and she had to like grab them one by one too, so they managed to go inside. And then I think it's the first time when she sees Xaden and Auric together, and she can see the tension between them. And it's when Auric said that you don't know what he did to Alec. And then what Xaden says is something that really caught my attention, because the way that he describes Alec don't remind you of somebody, like the way that he says craven murderous prick, who you
Jack
think
Barlow.
Exactly. It came to my mind that is really suspicious for me, because I would think that he's talking about Jack Barlow. First, who else this prince killed when he was on Basgard? So I'm thinking that maybe it was kind of like Jack Barlow. He was just killing for fun, or because he was a prince, so he can do whatever. And that's why he was trying to kill people when he had a chance. Maybe he wasn't even that good. Like Jack Barlow, he was like killing just
Average.
people that was not like a threat for him. So he was just taking advantage. That's why we think that maybe he was bullying Garrick. Garrick can do anything because he knew that anything that he can do, it will go against Xaden.
You stole my theory.
You can talk about it. But it's a thought. And that's like one of the reasons why Xaden killed him, because he was maybe somebody that was unhinged and was just killing everyone. He was a prick. It was a menace for them.
Yeah, it depends. Did everyone know that Alec was a prince when he went into the Rider Squadron? Or was he doing the same thing as Auric?
Don't remember to see if everyone knew that he was a prince. But I don't see like a reason for him to go there as a rider, because royalty will be
They're
more
not
like
supposed
infantry, maybe.
Yeah.
If they want to do something.
Yeah, we know that, don't we? So.
Well, we know that about people outside the royal family. But the royal family, I don't know if they just, because they're the royals, they can do whatever. And then he just went there. Obviously, we know what happened in the end. When Xaden killed him, everyone knew that was the prince, or because even the king knew that his son died trying to be a rider.
No, I don't think anyone. No.
So I think maybe it was after.
He says, I don't know who told him. I think that might be in the next chapter. But definitely remember, he says, I don't know who told him, because if the king knew, I wouldn't have my head.
Thought there was some part of the book when they said that one of the reasons that he's doing like this after what happened to his brother. So like the king knew that his son died threshing, and that like one of the
but he doesn't know. He doesn't know who did it. It says
that's the thing that maybe I don't know if he knew that Xaden did it, but he knew that his son died trying to be a rider.
Alec deserved it. This is in chapter 33, though. Alec deserved it. He was a bully and forfeited his life by coming after Garrick during threshing. Though I wonder who it was that told Auric, since if his father knew, I highly doubt I would still be in possession of my head. So the king doesn't know it was Xaden.
Yeah, but he knew that he died trying to be a rider, is what I'm saying. Yeah.
So we were having a conversation the other day about this, weren't we? About why would Garrick not defend himself? Garrick is a good fighter, we know that. Garrick isn't the type of person to let somebody bully him. Then we're just thinking of reasons why. And the only reason that kind of struck both of us as like, yeah, that could be it, was that Garrick felt like he couldn't. So he must have known he was a prince, and Garrick would have known that murdering the prince would have been potentially seen as an act of rebellion, and that would have then, because Garrick is one of the little silver scars on Xaden's back, that potentially that would have meant that Xaden would die. So Garrick couldn't do it himself, Xaden stepped in and did it.
Well, probably, yeah, Xaden was planning that he's going to do anyway because he doesn't give a shit about anything. But it's weird because it should be exactly the same, because in the end was somebody with the rebellion relic who killed the prince. So it doesn't matter if it was Xaden or Garrick, it's still the same crime. Or one of the people that had the rebellion relic killed the prince.
Yeah, but they don't know who did it, did they? I think that's what Garrick might have thought.
Mm-hmm.
So Garrick thought this would happen because it's only Xaden that's taking responsibility for all those people. It's not Garrick that's taking responsibility. So Garrick thought, well, if I kill him, then Xaden will die.
Mm-hmm.
But then Xaden was like, well, I'm just going to kill him anyway.
Maybe he found the opportunity to do it without nobody noticing or nobody knew.
Yeah.
Because in threshing, everything could happen.
Only Garrick would know, and Sorrengail, obviously. But yeah, the fact that it says your brother was a craven, murderous prick, that is a real... It just feels weird, doesn't it? And I've said it already today, that it feels at odds, because why would Oric hates his father, like hates his dad.
Mm-hmm.
Is it because they've got this like solidarity that they both grew up with this nightmare of a dad?
Mm-hmm.
But then if Alec was a craven, murderous prick, then you would be like, well, why does Oric feel so bad about?
Yeah.
Because we know he hates his dad. Why wouldn't he hate his brother if he was the same kind of person? There's so much I think we've still got to learn about that situation. Like why? Yeah. What was Alec doing?
I think maybe it's because you have maybe two different personalities. One when you are in the castle, when they are just like prince and they have everything. So maybe, they were like friendly, they were polite and everything. Once you go to Basgiath, they were like, why you don't talk to me? I'm the prince.
Yeah, maybe.
Prince. Or, and then start to be like not humble at all and doing this kind of stuff. So obviously, Eric is not like that. He's more humble.
Yeah. Xaden is not sorry that he killed him. And isn't that weird? He's not the first person Xaden killed then. Can't be. Xaden must have killed somebody on the mat or something before that, before threshing. Because he said when he first killed, his first kill, like he threw up, he was like, not...
Yeah, I think it has to be before that. Probably somebody trying to target him because he was the first with the rebellion relic inside Basgiath. So I'm guessing there were people that didn't like him and wants to do it like his life impossible.
Yeah.
So maybe there was a situation where he had to kill to just keep his life.
Yeah. And Sorrengail said she bonded with him because he was ruthless for seeing him do that. Because Xaden thinks he just reminded her of of his granddad. What did his granddad do at threshing? Did he kill someone too? Like, there's just so much that we don't know. Oric, he said, they tell him everything, and he says he's in. Mm-hmm. And then they ask him, are you sure about this? And he tells Violet, absolutely, the only person I hate more than Xaden Ryerson is my father. Just keep your boyfriend the fuck away from me. And that just means, I'm like, there's something, how does he hate his dad? And also hate Xaden so much when Xaden's doing so much to try and change the way of the continent.
Yeah, that he's doing basically what he wants to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe it's the propaganda that is being sent to him. Maybe there's a couple of things that he doesn't know about Xaden, because even, and this is seen when they go to the archive, they start to find out as well what Xaden's signet can do. Like, he didn't know that the shadows talk to Xaden as well.
No, that's weird.
Oh, your shadows can do that?
Yeah. Kinsey has a really good theory about this, and she thinks he's intrinsic. But I really love it. Like, it all stacks up. There's receipts. But I'm not sure if he's channeling at this moment, because it's not that long after threshing.
Yeah, it's just like a few weeks after threshing. And I think Violet took like, a month or maybe more? Yeah,
but there's no reason, like, it might be that he can see memories or something like that. There's some kind of intrinsic ability there, because that's how he knows that Xaden killed his brother, or that's how he knows, or he's like, did your signet tell you that? or did your shadows tell you that? When actually he knows, he's like really sarcastic and he knows that he's intrinsic because he can read his mind or he can do something really creepy that, like, but there's also the possibility that his dragon told him, because blue dragons, Sorrengail.
So I can tell her in the... Yeah, but...
I don't know.
I don't see the reason for that, but... Like, chatting about other people, like, dragon will do that.
Well, maybe there was 2 blue dragons at threshing at Xaden's threshing. One of them was bonding to Alec. One of them was bonding to Xaden. Then that one that bonded to Alec, obviously, like, Alec died. Alec was killed, so didn't bond to another cadet. Maybe she's just bonded to Auric. It's maybe the same dragon.
I don't think that Alec managed to bond. I
Dunno.
think it will happen before the bond.
Yeah, but maybe the dragon was there, or maybe, like, I don't know.
Maybe they saw everything, yeah.
Xaden says, like, he refuses to dress up in scribe disguise.
Yeah.
And then she's like, if I was a shadow wielder, I'm not sure I would walk around in anything other than black either. And he says, I'll be wherever you are. And this, at first I thought, oh, this is really similar to Andana. Andana says, I'll be where I need to be, though. And it's different. It shows the difference between Andana doing the right thing for what is needed, and Xaden maybe won't always do the right thing because he'll always be where she is. But what if he's needed somewhere else? And there's a really subtle difference between what he says and what Andana says. Anyway. Naskia?
Sleeping.
Obviously.
Yeah, what's going on in, like, the air in that place? Maybe it's just because it's too warm, too comfy, and then you just pass off after
He
a
can't
while.
cope. We know that he said in Fourth Wing, didn't he? He said, why is it so stuffy in here? And that was kind of setting him up to always be asleep. But I wonder if something's going on. I wonder if somebody's messing with him.
It gives the impression that he's just lazy. It's like, why he's not reading?
It does. There could be a
doing
medical
something.
reason, though, why he's falling asleep all the time. He might have, like...
Narcolepsy
yeah,
or something?
could do. But I feel like, I don't know, I feel like there's definitely something shady going on with Cadet Samuelson. He's not arrived yet, so we'll leave that bit. But I don't know. It's weird that Naskia is always asleep.
For me, the only thing that caught my attention here is that I think this is the first time that we see actually Imogen using her signet.
Yeah, she touches his face.
Did she? I think
Yeah.
she just put her hand lightly on the head.
Yeah, but she touches his... Okay, so she touches him. Do you think she needs to touch? I guess it doesn't matter, because you'd wipe... She does, she touches the other guy as well when they're stealing the map.
Yeah.
So...
It's kind of like a Dane,
Yeah.
but need to touch and then wipe it.
Yeah. This makes me think there's been a heist in each book. So there's been a heist in Fourth Wing where they steal the map. There's been a heist where they steal the book. Is there going to be a heist where they have to go and get Daddy Sorrengail's research?
Shouldn't be,
know,
because
it's not.
Violet knows what it is.
Yeah, but it depends where it is, doesn't it? Depends where it is.
Yeah.
Could be somewhere like the Vale, which would be like really, really hard to get to. Or in the museum, which is where I think it is.
No, I think it has to be something about the Royal Vault as well, because
Yeah.
I remember first time I read this, there was like something like a magic that was calling, there was something hiding there, maybe another ward stone or
Yeah.
something. I
Yeah.
need to go back.
I was interested in the interaction between Rhiannon and Imogen. She says, classified signet, remember, your power is impressive, Mateus, but I'm the last line of defense around here.
Yes.
So much to say about this. Right, Rebecca Yarros has said in her interviews recently that she really cares about character interactions and she sets them up for an arc. Every single interaction between Imogen and Rhi is like strained. There's like a bit of jealousy there from Rhiannon. There's a bit of...
The only one that I remember now is when I think they were about to go to battle brief or something. The Imogen said to her, like, you're doing a good job, Matthias, like as a squad leader.
Yeah, but it's the other way round. It's how Rhi feels about Imogen.
not sure if everything is related to Violet, because when they come back from Reason, Violet was like keeping distance, and she was more with Imogen, so she was like, "What's going on? What she's
really
doing?"
Jealous about the running. She's really
Yeah, there you see like something, but I don't know. Like I said, I don't know if it's because Violet is the cause of that, or it's just Imogen because she is.
But this is another one where she's like, it was Xaden. Xaden picked Imogen over Rhiannon, but Violet says something like, if something goes wrong, you go back to your room and act like it didn't. I hold her gaze so she knows I'm serious. She's like supporting Xaden. She's picking Imogen over Rhiannon again. And I think like hopefully that doesn't come to a head at some point, because it might do. Just because we know how much Rebecca Yarros cares about every interaction between each character. That line where it says, Imogen says, I'm the last line of defense around here. Kylie, who is one of our friends on Instagram, has this absolutely terrifying theory that Xaden is going to make Imogen wipe Violet's memories for a bit of him. He's gonna to try and like make this break easier and to save Violet and to, you know, like he's gonna be the martyr and he's gonna say he doesn't want to break her heart, so he's just gonna remove the memories. He's gonna get Imogen to remove the memories. And I can totally see it happening. Obviously, they'd have to come back because they're endgame, and Rebecca Yarros has said there's no story without Xaden and Violet. It just made me think, oh my god, that's totally gonna happen.
For me, there's always one thing that I still not like an explanation. How Violet knew that Imogen can wipe memories, because there was the first time she mentioned it, there was nothing before that. So how she knew? Maybe Imogen's power doesn't work in Violet or something.
No, I think she's seen her use it, and then she's wiped her memory. But because Violet knows she can do it, there's a difference between a memory and knowledge. When you know something, you know something. So she just said, "Oh, and Imogen can wipe memories," and then Imogen says, "And I'm really fast." And she possibly wipes the memories of everybody else to tell them that...
Yeah, and this is the other thing, that she can only wipe recent memories at the moment. Don't know like how long it will go once it gets stronger, like how far she can wipe memories. But even if right now she applies that to Violet, how much she will wipe? Maybe a day, 2 days, a week, or...
Yeah, but we don't know. We don't know if it's recent memories now. We don't know how strong she's doing. We don't know if Violet's got this dagger that amplifies her signet and she needs it. It's actually fascinating.
Could happen, to be honest. It could.
I know, it made me feel sick when I read it because I knew what could happen. I was like, oh, she's right.
Yeah.
Really, really cool, though. I've had some great conversations today. Then... Xaden is like sneaking alongside them because he refuses to dress up as a scribe, and she says she sees the vague outline of his shape if I look closely, but it's almost shocking how well he blends into the darkness. And this makes me think of so much stuff. Right, so there's a bit later on about how a dark wielder hides in the shadows and kills the ancient king. It kills the beloved king. That's another line that makes me think that something's going to happen between Xaden and the king. I think Xaden's going to kill the king. And also it made me think, hang on, how many times do we hear of dark wielder? And how many times do we hear venom? And are they actually different things? And are we just assuming a dark wielder is a venom? And actually a dark wielder is Xaden. He's literally wielding the dark.
No,
he's wielding shadow.
Wait,
it's shadows. It's the dark, isn't it? Same thing. But I read dark wielder as venom, but I don't know that we are actually supposed to. I wonder. I'm going to do a search, and I should have done it before this episode, but it's getting super late. So I just am going to do a search for dark wielder. I know some of the references to the ancient stuff and the old wars and the first 6, and they talk about dark wielders. They don't say venom.
Mhm.
So are there shadow wielders, and they're what they're calling dark wielders, and is that like setting something up? I don't know.
It's interesting because we know the Xaden signet is something that's not been really common as well. Actually, the first time where he manifested, he was straight away like the most powerful rider just for that signet, and it's not very common because there's not like another shadow wielder.
It's so cool. It's the most cool. Like, it can do anything. He can even pin his feet to the ground when he's losing control. When he gets jealous. Right. Cadet Samuelson is coming from the same hallway that they're heading for. Where's he coming from? It's weird.
Yeah, what he was doing over there.
He's only a first year. And she said, well, there's more scribes he should recognize there's more cadets in the scribe quadrant than the riders quadrant. He should recognize us. It's still small enough that he should recognize. He's a first year. It's only October. Like they've only been there a little while, and how like she doesn't recognize. She can't even remember the name of the people in her squad because she can't be asked to. She doesn't want to get so emotionally involved with them.
Yeah.
So how can she expect him to know? Anyway, he says, I thought only you and Cadet Nasia were on duty tonight. How do you know that, if he wasn't checking the rota?
Yeah.
That's a bit odd, isn't it? And yet you're here, she replies. He's doing something suspicious. Why else would he have checked the rota? If he just forgot his notes, like he said, he's kind of like, oh, I thought it was only you and Nasia. I knew Nasia would be asleep and I could have like bumped you off or something. What's he doing there?
And I agree with you. There's something going on here more than we just can see. You can think maybe it's just like Rebecca Jarrett just put in like a little bit of difficult.
A danger.
Yeah, like something for making like hard for these guys to go to the vault. But that's the question, what he was doing there when that should be kind of like a restricted area.
And he said, I forgot my binding assignment in Cully's room. Then it says he glances meaningfully at the cream satchel strapped over his shoulder. So he's either stealing something or he's putting something back. Like, he's like suspicious. Then she says, forgetfulness doesn't become a scribe. Jacinia she signs it. And my eyebrows rise as I fight back a smile. If you don't mind, first year, we second years have things to accomplish. Not everyone requires weekends off to study. Because I suspected that he wasn't supposed to be there. He's not supposed to be there. Yeah. In the weekend. What's he doing? Is he working for Marker? And is that how they start to get suspicious that something's going on at the scribes? Does he run off and tell somebody?
At this point, we can't tell if he's going to be one of the good ones or one of the bad ones. So maybe it's a scribe that he starts to like put things together by himself and he's just like digging just to see.
Yeah, maybe they're on the same side.
Yeah, and it's just like they don't talk each other. So could be that, or well, has to be that, I think, because why Markham will choose like a first year to do anything for him? Why
he
not
would have
somebody with
chosen
more experience or himself?
Well, no, he would have chosen Violet, wouldn't he? You don't know, and now Violet's not there, so who's he picked? It seems like Jasinia's going to be the next. He's chosen her, hasn't he? But
well, yeah, Jasenia, we know that by the end of everything, she's going to be the leader of the scribes. So obviously, she was second, I think, option apart of Violet.
But we also know that she's the only one that's chosen the adept path. But he could also be sent in there by someone.
Something that caught my attention as well is that it seems like everyone here knows sign language. Because even Eric, he was like, when she recognized him, like, it's this obvious. He was like talking as well with sign language.
Yeah, just Sawyer. Sawyer doesn't.
Yeah. Has to be something about maybe position, because the people who knows is like people with big rank. So we have like Xaden, Eric, Violet, like people that maybe they are always with these people that like high level, and then society.
Yeah, it could be to do with level of education, couldn't it? But
Yeah.
Sawyer's from, like, really far out, like...
Yeah, it's not part of royalty or...
Or, like, you
dukes
just know,
or-
like, I know, I grew up in a really rural village. There wasn't a lot of diversity. There just wasn't. I know that it's not, like...
They had the need to maybe learn something else because all the people, it's the same, kind of.
Yeah. It's when you move to a big place that you realise that the world is a really diverse... And if you're growing up as a kid, like, that's the thing, isn't it? You only know what... And I'm not saying it's a good thing. I'm just saying it's a thing.
Yeah, that's how it works, basically.
Yeah.
You're in a bubble when you are, like, growing in a small place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter where you are, if you're growing up in a small town in Colombia or if you're growing up in a small town in, I don't know, rural England. The diversity that you have when you're growing up is limited. It's great. Like, this book is so diverse, and the fact that everybody can do sign language, it should be like that. Okay, right, so we get your shadows. He said there's nobody else here, at least not in this section. Your shadows tell you that. Auric quips. The word quips is the one that makes it a bit weird. I thought we agreed not to speak, Xaden retorts. He knows is on to him.
And then Yesenia she found the secret entrance.
She does.
Yeah. Show them the way, but she can't go further than that.
She can't, but she says everything from here is only what I've been told. Who told her?
Do you think maybe, like, I don't know if I like a legend or just like thing that you can hear about it, or maybe there's actually like proper knowledge that they had to study about the royal vault. You had no access, but we had this.
Did she use
like
her
in a
position?
bank,
Like, is she close enough to mark it, or is she like...
Yeah, maybe she found out that yes, there's a area that's like restricted, so
You
there's
can't go there.
like common knowledge, but you can't go there, and the people who actually know what is inside is limited.
Yeah, maybe. It just is really weird. And then she says that the protections for the archives don't extend down there, so they're better just to stay down there if they can't get out. But it's quite cool, isn't it? She like moves some books and there's a secret lever, and it turns and it doesn't even make a sound.
So then it's like, okay, we had you like 45 minutes, so we better start moving.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Let's go.
And that's the end of chapter 32.
Oh my goodness, that was a bit of a long episode, wasn't it?
Yes, it's gonna be a long one.
And we always say this, but really mean it this time. If you have made it this far through the podcast, well done. Like,
You are a true fan, and we love you.
Next week, we will be diving into...
Chapters 33 to 36.
Thank you for working that out, because I can't add 4. So I can't do simple maths at this time of night. As we always say, we love hearing your theories, reactions. The best place to do that is on Instagram at faithfullyfantasypod. We've shared some of our friends from Instagram's theories today, and it's really exciting. So keep coming to chat to us on Instagram. We are also on TikTok, same at faithfullyfantasypod.
Also, you can visit our website. It's faithfullyfantasy.com, where you can find more information about us. You can find every single episode of this podcast there for free. So just remember, faithfullyfantasy.com. Thanks for listening to Faithfully Fantasy,
The husband and wife podcast talking all things Iron Flame.
we say goodbye for now, but we'll come back next week with more Faithfully Fantasy.
Bye!